This is what I say, crunk, throw it up, dubs on the Cadillac, white tees, Nikes, gangsters don't know how to act, Adam still bankhead, college park, cover.
What's up, you guys, and welcome to Back to the Thread Life. In today's hair tutorial, I'll be sharing how I achieve these kinky curly human hair mid-length boho box braids. Y'all know I'm gonna spill every bit of the details, but before we get into it, huge shout out to Curlsqueen for sponsoring today's video. Let's get right into it. Starting right off with the braiding hair that I use the Free Trust Kids pre-stretched 28 inches. And now for the unboxing of the Curlsqueen hair. I love their presentation every single time. Along with the hair, they included some goodies and a reusable bag as well as some literature. And for the hair, I have 3 bundles of the Kinky Curly texture. And as you can see, these bundles are extremely full. Once it was all said and done, I ended up using almost 2 bundles. We're starting off with freshly washed and blown dry hair, and then we're gonna get into the parting. You'll notice in today's tutorial that I'm doing oval parting. This was a go-to of mine when I used to do box braids on clients back in the day. It allows you to get a seamless parting experience. You can part more hair off at one time. It also allows for a super full look, and I just wanted to switch it up. I tried to record this first braid, but you couldn't see everything that you needed to see, so I'm going to show you all the progression of my parting, and then once we get to the top of the hair, then I'll show you exactly how I did one of the braids. This was 2 hours in, and then at this point, I had to go from adding 2 pieces of braiding hair to 3 just so that the length could add up at the bottom, but I returned back to 2 pieces of braiding hair once I got to the top. Now for the parting, another reason why I love the oval parting is that it's very beginner friendly because it tells you exactly where your next part needs to go. You just fill in the gap from the 2 braids underneath, and you do an oval on top of it, and you just continue that same pattern all the way up. You really can't miss with this because you end up with your windows intact, and again, it tells you exactly where you need to go. Now for the braid, let's get into exactly how to do that. You're going to start off with your 3 pieces, and once you get your 3 pieces separated, you're going to cross over 1, 2, 3, and then adding your first piece of braiding hair, cross over once on each side, adding your second piece of braiding hair, cross over once on each side, go in with your first piece of human hair. And for most of these braids, I only added the first 2 pieces of braiding hair at the top, and then from that point on, I continued adding human hair pieces all the way down the rest of the braid, and I added about 5 to 8 pieces on each braid because I wanted a medium density on these braids, and with how small they were, it ended up being more braids than I'm typically used to doing, and it gave it a nice density in the end. But like I said, you just want to go through and continue adding those human hair pieces in, making sure that you're adding in enough product to keep all of the hair smooth, and continue braiding on down until you get to the very end and add your last human hair piece and tie it off. And while you're doing your best not to get a bunch of flyaways by adding in your product, don't worry about the ones that just tend to stick out on their own, because we're going to go in once each braid is completed and snip off those extra hairs. But once you get to the end of the braid, you're going to add in that last piece of bulk human hair, and that will serve as your end. But first you want to braid it in and braid it down a few times and tie off a knot of braiding hair at the end of it. And by doing it in this pattern and in this way, you will have a human hair end without having to do any gluing or any extra steps, because the human hair will hang lower than the braid or the braiding hair itself. Now that the braid is complete, you're going to go in and snip off those extra flyaways. And now that we're at the top, I'm just showing how I finish off the oval parting. It can get really tricky when you're doing those last few pieces because of course your head, although it is an oval shape, you're gonna have those last 2 to 3 braids that kind of are weird shape. They're not the perfect oval as with the rest of the parting, but you just do the best you can with filling it in, and it lays perfectly fine when it's all said and done. As you can see, those last 2 again are oddly shaped, but it all works itself out in the end. Y'all know I always like to show a braid or 2 with the music playing just for my visual learners that need no talking in the background so y'all can see how it's done. But one thing I love about the whole knotless series is that although The materials may be similar, the technique is pretty much consistent throughout the videos, the sizing changes, the placement of the actual hair changes, and the parting changes, and it gives a completely different look every single time. You add on a different texture of hair on top of it, and there are endless possibilities with boho human hair braids. So like I said, I'm gonna just go through the second to last braid in full, the last one in interim, and then I will come back at the end for finishing off the braids and styling them.
This is what they say, crunk, throw it up, dubs on the Cadillac, white tees, Nikes, gangsters don't know how to act, Adam still bankhead, college park, cover home, hummus floating on chrome, choking on that homegrown, they got that southern cooking, they got them fellas looking, thinking I was easy, I can see it, that's when I say no, shorty can't handle this, Sierra got that fire like,
Now that we have all of our braids in, you want to go through and separate your human hair from the braiding hair so that you don't dip your human hair in the boiling hot water. And I did about 5 braids to each rod, and then you're gonna wrap it tightly and secure the ends of the rods with a rubber band so that they don't get too loose or come apart as you're trying to dip it in the boiling hot water. Then you're just going to submerge each rod 1 to 2 at a time in the hot water and dry it off really good. Now we're going to take the rods out and do the shaping and the cutting. I think it's very imperative that you wait to do your shaping and your cutting until you see where everything is going to fall after you roll the ends of the braiding hair, because again, you can't see where everything is going to fall, and it's harder to roll the braiding hair on a rod if the ends are too blunt. So just wait until you're done with oil dipping, and then you can go in and shape it to your liking. I'm going to go in and do my edges after this clip, and then we're going to go in for some shaping. I'm also going to take a second here and pay respect to the beautiful young lady that I saw on my For You page that inspired me to do this length in this style. She also used Curlsqueen hair, but she did the clip-ins curly hair instead, and I could automatically tell upon opening the hair that the bulk kinky curly hair is not the same as the kinky curly hair that is on the clip-in. So it did give a different finish, but I still wanted to cut mine around the same length because I just loved that in between. It's not quite a bob, but it's not long, very manageable, and that combined with the density, I just really love these braids. That one piece that was sticking up was bothering me, so I went in with a beater the same way I do in previous videos with my crochet hook, just to get that piece to lay flush against the braid and not stick out. And you can do that in your finishing process to your liking or as needed. Here's an up close texture shot because why would I not? Wet or dry, but especially wet, I love the texture of this kinky curly hair. I never thought to do kinky curly boho braids, but I'm glad that I did because y'all see it. Here's the finished look. And you know it's not a full tutorial if we don't do a few styles. So let's get into that very quickly before we close out.
Picture perfect, you might want to take a flick. Call him Jazzy, tell him pop the bottles cause we got another hit. Wanna go platinum, mama, who you should get.
to check out the description box for all of the Curlsqueen information. I love y'all real bad. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to the set, and I'll see y'all very soon. Later.